love the colorful clothes she wears, and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair. I hear the sound of a gentle wind on the wind that lifts her perfume through the air. I'm picking up her vibrations. She's giving me the excitation. I'm picking up her vibrations. Hi, welcome to Moments with Mimi. And today I just thought we'd talk about Noah and Gilgamesh. I don't know why. This is inspired action. So the story of Noah and Gilgamesh are the same story. And this story comes from the very oldest of stories that were in the Library of Alexandria that came from the Indus civilization. And this even predates the Sumerians. And the story is been handed down and was discovered when the archaeologists found the story of Gilgamesh in the Sumerian civilization that they discovered. And so this story is about, it's like a Bible, it's telling the story. And there was a time when the earth was filled up, just like it is now. And there was, many, many people. And there were heroes of old, the renowned, the ones who tried to walk with God but saw life objectively. And the Nephilim that are mentioned, it means those who were walking with God but then fell. And there were many. There were many, many, many. And they fell because they were seeing it objectively. They were using the laws of mind and they knew about them, but they weren't digging deeper and turning away from the outside world. And so they became corrupt, and the world was filled with this corruption. And it was, the story says, and God was sorry that he even made man, and that's just not true, okay? That part is just silly. What it really was intended to say, and it got lost in the translation, is that, God saw that, they weren't changing. So they weren't turning away, even though it got uglier and uglier and uglier. And that there was one man who just didn't care. He walked with God. He was always talking to God, telling him how great his life was, how he loves the grapes, he loves the wine, he loves hanging with God, this life's sweet, oh, don't worry about those guys. They don't know what they're talking about. And so, well, if you don't like it so much, then, come on within. Come on within. And, build yourself your world. Just go ahead. Take the thoughts that you want to take in. Come on. And so he does. And it talks about his neighbors helping him build his ark. And that was his neighbors showing him that they changed as he changed. And then Noah goes in his ark. And the ark is your mind. And the story of Gilgamesh is saying the same thing. When you translate their names, it means the same thing. Okay? And you translate the certain words, and you realize they're saying the same thing. So you go in your mind, and you're taking the thoughts that you believe are good, okay, inside your mind, the beliefs and thoughts that you want to grow. That's why they come in pairs, okay, male and female. They go into the ark. So objective man always, it's got to be, full of hay and water and all this. Now you're going into your mind. Okay, you're going into your mind. And you're loving on these thoughts. And in an objective man's mind, that is. So it's the same thing, said differently. And so, 40 days and 40 nights, 40 represents in the fullness of time. In the ancient Egyptian, it is the symbol of a pregnant woman. In the ancient Hebrew, it's the symbol of a pregnant woman. So in the fullness of time, 40 days, 40 nights, 40 years, whatever, it's 40 that's important, in the fullness of time. And it came to be. And the dove is the sign from God that it's okay to come out of your ark now. The world is beautiful, and then you get drunk. You drink from the Holy Grail and you get drunk on your imagination, because you have now proven to yourself that if you go within and listen to God and just, stay there, stay there. I'm not going to listen to you guys. It's all good. Everything's good. Now, this manifests itself in the outside world. And the story of Noah resonates with everyone. And there are flood stories around the world. So, the story is really about the end of an age in humanity where the earth was filled in a man who walked with God. He's Jesus walking the road, and he imagined a better place, and they wouldn't change. So you go stay in your ark, okay? Don't worry about them, and God will take care of it. And God washed it away in a flood. It manifested itself in a flood, and all those people had to die. Okay, they weren't going to change. They weren't going to turn in. They were going to keep splitting God in two, no matter what. So they, hubris, pride, so it's not love. So Noah was full of love for these people, despite the fact that they were acting in such a manner. And they didn't bother him, really. It's just, it was ugly. And he didn't like it, But, I'm with God, and it's all you. So let's get rid of him. Why don't you take the thoughts that you want in your head, and we'll make those grow. Okay. So the manifestation is a flood. I don't know. Comet hits, breaks the ice that was melting. It washes through, making the Badlands in the Americas. It's making the Strait of Gibraltar, because it breaks. That goes flushing in, and this all happened in a year. Who knows? But something happened, and it was a flood. And literally, and it washed these people away that weren't thinking that way, and the ones that came out, which were Noah and his family, come out and start repopulating the world again, right? Filling consciousness back up again. That's what we've been doing. Now it's all full again. Now, God promised us in the past we're not going to have floods again. Not like that. But it comes in other ways, because you have to learn. We filled it up. We filled it up. We were aware of all these people in the world, 7.5 billion people in the world. We're aware of bugs and viruses, too many to name. We can't even keep them up with the names we've given them. Okay, and that's what we do. We name stuff, and change stuff and name it. So it's, time to turn within and take the thoughts with you that you want it to be, and just know, I don't care. I don't care what they say. And this virus that's in place right now is basically a flood. It's the flood. You know, are you gonna keep looking at the objective side, or are you gonna go into your arc and just be and love on your thoughts good, things you want to see and have in your life, and just keep it up, and you'll discover this virus is bringing you good. Somehow it's bringing you your good because you've been turning within, and you just keep having the faith. It's the fall of the Nephilim is when you've been turning within and keeping the faith, and then you fall for it. You just go and fall for it, and it's I bought some gloves because okay, they're nice to have when I'm cutting up chickens and preparing meat, and so that's nice. I don't usually buy them, but my husband wanted them because he's all afraid, and I've been imagining that he's not, but and that he's filled with faith and hope and love, and that's starting to change, and so you just keep it up. You just keep it up. It's like making certain doughs. It looks horrible and you think you should throw it away, but if you keep stirring, it finally comes together. It's like that. Keep faith. Keep stirring that dough. It will come together. And that's pretty much what it is. It's tough in these times when it's in your face all the time. It really is, but you just, you give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and then know you're the best little liar in the world. And you go into God and give to God what is God's. And that's how you get past it, and you just keep the faith. I know everything's fine. I know that's God being that virus. He never gonna hurt me. God's in all men. God's in that virus. That virus loves me, and I love that virus. I love that germ, and that germ loves me. It doesn't hang around here. If I don't think it's bad, and it goes where it's loved, where everybody's afraid of it. So you have this conflict going on, and it's really funny because, like on the news, they're showing the kids down at spring break, and the restaurateurs and stuff, and this across the beaches, Florida and Texas, all the touristy destination the kids want to go to. And for them, this virus is not going to stop me from having my spring break, and so they go down there, and it's the same with the restaurateurs. This is my big season. This is my big time. This virus is not going to stop me from that. It's a virus. They're seeing it objectively, but they're defying it. I'm not going to listen to this shit. No, everything's fine. And, the others are saying, no, you have to listen. You don't understand. You have to listen. And keep pumping out, this is the signs of it. This is what it feels like. This is what it's doing to you. I'm even seeing this on Neville Goddard forums on Facebook groups and Neville Goddard. And frankly, I had to leave a couple of them. I'm not going to listen to that shit. That guy's that admin, so I'm not listening to it. He's a Nephilim. He knows the laws. He reads Neville. He knows better, but he won't dig deep. He won't snap. And so he's gotta go do his thing. That's fine. That's great. Bless you. I know you're gonna get it. But it's things like that kind of, and the Bible talks about it too, where even the elect will fall. And so there's this, he's an elect, he knows better, but yet there he is falling for it. You can't have a foot in both worlds. Okay? That's like saying, genocide by gas is horrible, but genocide by rocks and sticks, that's okay. No, it's genocide. It's not okay. How you do it doesn't matter. It's genocide. It's not okay. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's not okay. So it's things like that. That's how you look at it. So God's playing that virus. And you and God are one. Well, maybe you don't know that. But you should know that. Because you're living the promise. You're living it. And it is for you to discover that you and God are one. You don't become egoless. You accept your ego. God made this ego. It's delightful. And that's how I got my desires. And then the baby kicked in. Oh, ooh, I like that. I'm going to have that. I'm going to be that. I'm going to do that. I like that. Oh, my goodness. And then, at some point in time, the baby says, ooh, I'm afraid. Oh, yeah, you're afraid? Let me give you something to be afraid about. Oh, Dad, no. But Dad used to say that, Why are you crying? Let me give you something to cry about. No, no. That's okay. And the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. It doesn't mean go beat your child with a rod, but it does mean discipline your human imagination. Don't let it run wild. When you do, it becomes a monster. So I hope this helps. All is well. Things are good. You're magnificent. And you play an important part in this story. There's not another like you. And there never will be. Not another you can be made. Make that story magnificent. Stay in your arc. Don't you worry. That dove's coming. Blessings to you. Thank you. Thank you for being you.
I like to think none of this would have worked out if you weren't at heart just a little bit a good person.
And if you weren't, deep down, just enough of a bastard to be worth knowing.
That certain night, the night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.